See, when I said the next video would be kind of Navy related, I wasn't kidding. Hello, welcome back to another unboxing video by Models by Me. This time we'll be looking at Italeri, technically a PBJ1-D, otherwise known as a B25. So we'll look at this in the usual manner. We'll start with the outside of the box, then the contents, then the instructions, and then lastly the sprues. So a little bit of history on the B25. Very little. I am not going to read all of this. Apologies to all the B25 aficionados out there. I'm not going to read it. It's got a long history. It's did a heck of a lot of stuff. It's one of the best medium multi-purpose planes there ever was. It was really good. It was used for loads of things. But it first flew in August 1940 and was finally introduced in 1941. Finally being retired in 1979. Nearly 40 years after its first flight, it finally was retired from active service, still used by some private flights. So the PBJ, like most things in like American service, like the Duck, DUKW, Duck. Each one of those letters actually represented a specific thing, such as, for example, the PBJ that we have right in front of us, for example. P is a patrol aircraft, B is a bomber, and J being in the North American aviation. So it's the creator. And the -1 is because it's the first variant of this particular plane, or particular series. And it was pretty much set up just like its Army version, or Army Air Force version. Doesn't really give me much more beyond that, I'm afraid. It did actually use rockets and stuff, and after 1962 did carry radar and stuff on it. So that's unfortunately, I don't have that many more details on that. So we'll continue with the unboxing video. Alright, let's start with the outside of the box. So start with the front, where we got a nice lovely artwork of the PBJ itself, showing its torpedo and the bomb bay doors open. I would query with the doors open the amount of wind and noise that this thing would be, the crew would have to suffer flying in this. However, a few bits of facts I do know about this aircraft. The engines are so close to the cockpit here that they had to do a lot to try and dampen the noise. Didn't work that well. So we've got a Japanese ship. Can't really call it a destroyer. It's definitely nothing bigger than destroyer. And I know it's Japanese because there's the Rising Sun emblem there. 72nd scale Italeri US Navy bomber. Down the side here. About the B25. Then the Navy wanted one, so they called it a PBJ1. All the other different languages. Pause if you want to read any of that. The side where PBJ1, 172nd, and the front box art again. Just the plane this time, not the full one. This side, more history on the B25 or PBJ in even more languages. Barcode 94 for modelers aged 10 or over. Okie dokie. That's quite literally the same as the other side. And the paint guide. Yes, Italeri, this is an alternate artwork at least. Italeri had a habit of, the instructions will say, here's one option, and here's the other option on the back of the on the back of the box, which I suppose it gives you a clue of what this thing actually would look like fully assembled and painted. I have no idea what the A13 stands for. That's second-hand kit, this one. There we go. Contents. So let's have a look. So we have empty box. We have the instructions, and then we have the bag sprue, quite literally a bag. As I said, this is a second-hand kit. The guy made sure everything was in here before passing it over. And unfortunately, there is no decals with this. I had to go out and source my own, but sometimes they just get lost, so you can't help it. But yep, I did manage to find the aftermarket decals for this plane in specifically this one, so yep, that was lucky. Unfortunately, it also made me want to go buy a whole bunch more B25s. There's a few different colour options there. So, that's the contents, really. Instructions. So, Italeri instructions are different. It's basically a length of A5 bit of paper, A5 wide, tall, which you then print everything on and then fold up into A5 sheet of paper. And considering number 2 starts there, this is going to be interesting. Right, so on the front here, that was literally on the side of the box. Attention! Please read and study. Okie dokie. Then we have a parts guide, which is something that Italeri do quite well. They do give you the parts guide here and tell you all the pieces that you do not need. Now, I forgot Italeri did this as well. So they basically give you a letter. So if you want to paint the control columns, they are in A. A is flat black. They also conveniently do give you Model Master's colour code, so you can partly look this up afterwards. Sorry, quick jump cut. I had to go get a drink. But yeah, basically, look at the letter, reference the colour, and then come back. I think I prefer this over Vels, because it partly does give you a colour code, unlike the Vels half the time, which just says it's this colour or that colour. Sometimes they give you a number. But also, there's no mixing involved. So make green zinc chromate. You do not need to mix grey with a bit of green, with a bit of yellow, or a bit of white, and just like, ugh. Please, and it's always like 25% of this, and 10 of that, and no. This is how you do it. You just like, here's the colours you need, go have fun. So this has crew members. We can do the jelly baby test. Glue the pilot and co-pilot into the seats onto the frame. Instrument panel. This looks like it's going to be a nicely detailed kit. I think I'm going to have to look up to see how old this thing is. Interior. Cut open window, door, and bomb bay on both sides. Yay. Next step. The new additional piece here. So, glue together the frame for the torpedo. Top machine gun, which is pretty basic, but okay, yeah, glue the top turret together. And then, this is a big piece, so we have glue the side machine guns in, glue the side door and windows in, glue the bomb, glue the torpedo stand in there, the door into the fuselage, the cockpit, the front half of the cockpit with the instrument panel, which is a decal that goes on the front of there, which then goes on to the front of there, which then goes on into there. Close the Sorry, engine. Voice is going. Glue the hub onto. So okay, you can put the wheel straight on, and then glue that over there to have a spinny wheel. Just glue it all together. Also looks like you can only have the landing gear down. So if you want this with the landing gear up, have fun. And one bit I missed at the back here, other than side machine guns, it's the rear machine guns. Yes, this thing, despite carrying torpedoes, bombs, God knows what, also carried a load of machine guns. I hate going up against these in War Thunder. Next, we have engine. So we have a chance for spinny propeller. So glue those two together. Do not glue the propeller in. You put that through the cowling, which goes through the engines. Put the engines into the cowling. Put that through that, and then glue the little nub on the end. And then you glue the rear part of the cowlings onto the front part. And to help, this is what this is for. It's just to help you line everything up so you've got the correct orientation of the engine. Okie dokie. Do that twice. Doesn't say we got to do it twice. Oh yeah, landing gear down. So it doesn't give you an option to have landing gear up. That's a shame. Glue the wings together, glue the engine nacelles together with the landing gear struts down. Have this unfold on you. Then you got the tail frame over there. Canopy, glue the wings on, glue the engines in, light, pitot tube, radar, yeah. Additional forward fire machine guns. And then the interesting part, now I do say this is the really interesting part, you glue this base plate into the front glass section here. And then you glue, yeah, it does look like both. So you glue, I'm guessing that's the 30 caliber into that side, a little hole there. And then glue the 50 caliber through that hole there. You also need to put 20 grams of weight into this thing, because the landing gear is so far forwards that if you don't put enough weight in the nose, it becomes a tail sitter. It'll just go ding every time you try and do it. So you glue that in there, glue the machine guns in, and then start putting weight under that board and into between that board and the fuselage, and glue the weight in. Also, you could probably cheat and try and hide some like behind the engines or in the nacelles, or possibly even behind this front wheel. 20 grams. I would always go a little bit extra than what it says there, like 23, 25, just a little bit extra. Not too much so it starts bending the wheels, but just enough so if you do get it slightly off, or just, oh yeah, it's like 19.8 grams, and you just put a little bit too much paint on the rear, so it just goes dunk again. A little bit extra just covers you that way. Right, now we've got the plane pretty much assembled. What's left to do? The underside. So we got the. Okay, maybe you can't put stuff behind that wheel. That's going to be slightly annoying. Anyway, so yeah, we've got the wheels, some extra stuff, the wheel covers, and the radar dome at the back here. Okie dokie. And then the torpedo and the bomb bay door flaps. So, torpedo plane with a torpedo, who would have thought? And yep, there's option A. So we have flat sea blue and medium grey. Okie dokie. Option B is pretty much identical, except for different American stars. Different number on the back. And that is it. apart from option C, which is there. So that's it for the instructions. I'm going to have to lay the sprues out, so give me a minute, or give me 5 seconds while I get this all sorted out. And now the sprues. There's a few loose pieces, and interestingly, I'm going to pick up this. This isn't connected. There's not like something holding. Well, there is, but there's not like this part's holding this part together. For example, I'm going to pick up this bit, and both sprues are going to come together. That's going to make things interesting. We'll start with the loose pieces. So here we've got the ailerons at the back. That's out of focus. There we go. So we have nice fabric covered wings or surfaces. That's not too bad. The ribs are nice. They show nicely there. But we have, yep, we have raised panel lines. Ooh, this is going to be a 60s kit. Place your bet now. I'm going to go look up. I forgot I was going to say this. I'm going to look up, see how old this model is, and be right back. Inside? Yeah. About the same. Okay, right. I'm going to pause this quickly and look up the age of this kit. Comment below what you think it is. And I'm back, so I'll give you a few seconds to comment below. Those that like doing this. But the original moulding, so this particular variation of this kit was first released in '94. The kit itself, then the rest of the plane, 1978. So I said 60s, I was way off. 78, so okie dokie. Gives us an inkling of what to expect detail-wise, so we may have some nice detail here and there, but we may have raised panel lines. Let's have a look at this piece. So we've got a tiny little ring, which is for the top machine gun. No detail there whatsoever. We'll have a look at one of the two loose propellers. Yes, both propellers are loose. They look quite well modelled. The actual propeller parts themselves haven't warped or bent. And the detail isn't too bad. It's quite nice. I don't like spinny propellers when I'm doing this. But yeah, that's not too bad. One of the engine nacelles. Recessed lines for the landing gear doors. They close up after so once the landing gear's down, it closes back up again. Okie dokie. We have recessed part there for the engine cowling bit. Another recessed bit there, because the engine and the cowling sit there, so But raised panel lines everywhere else. Oh, okie dokie. And the nose section. So we have one hole here. No hole anywhere else. It's quite grubby windscreen. But that's just one solid bit of plastic and doesn't look too bad. Other than, yeah, unfortunately it's kind of like scruffed up. Guessing just where it's fallen off and got a bit loose. Let's have a look at the rest of the clear plastic, which is, yeah, a lot better off. Though I would probably say, let's have a look at this. If you are going to put detail on the interior of this thing, you may not see it that well. So all the additional extra bits there. Including parts for other models which or have variants of the B25. This is something that Italeri used to do. They tell you to put, sometimes they tell you to put weight in, sometimes they just go, yeah, sod the weight. What we'll do, we'll give you a little flying stand to sit the tail on, which is what these two parts are. So, yeah, it's amusing. Some of the older kits do that. I don't know if any of the newer ones do that. They just tell you to put weight in the nose. And now an actual sprue that ain't the clear plastic. So let's have a look. So that's so this is the extra sprue. Yes, this is the extra one for the PBJ specifically. So we have the four additional 50 caliber machine guns that go on each side. With again more raised lines. Why? A very small but chunky torpedo. Okie dokie. And some more flaps, more fins for the torpedo. We've got the propeller at the back, radar, additional pieces, flares maybe? Probably just not sure what these extra bits are. I saw them, they go on the wings. I'm just going to call it the Bombay section, kind of what it is. And yeah, overly, that's not too bad. Quite nice, this bit. 94. I suppose it keeps with the rest of it, the raised panel lines, but why are the raised panel lines on this bit? Right, this is where it gets interesting, because, let's say, all this is still, they normally cut that bit off, but this time, they didn't. It's still stuck together, so this is going to be interesting. So, the fuselage, as we're here, raised panel lines, yep, raised panel lines. They're not rivet lines, they are panel lines. The Bombay doesn't look too bad. Oh, the panel lines are quite... I was about to say, the panel lines are quite nice. They're nice if they weren't raised. Other additional side-mounted 50 caliber machine guns. That would be the cockpit section. I'll come back to these in a minute. So the wheels are actually quite nice. So you can just about make out some of the tread on the outside, and you've got the hubs on the inside. Engines, can't see anything from the other side. Kind of base. Okay, they're nice engines. There's definitely been worse engines, but there's also been better engines, but that's not too bad. Some more of the machine guns. This thing literally had so many machine guns, it's unbelievable. Two of the nacelles together. There's the rudders. And the wings. So we have, this will be the upper wings. So we've got the fabric cover surfaces there. We've got the flaps, which are metal. Okie dokie. And more raised panel lines and oil fuel ports. Okie dokie, underside. That is moulded into the plastic, guys. Yeah, that's moulded into the plastic. Okay, interesting. The engine's not too bad. Where the nacelles will go, it's just they're there. There's nothing additional. But then again, the doors are going to be closed afterwards, so you're not going to see anything inside anyway. So you could cheat. One of the nacelles, the gap where the loose one should go. The cowlings are not too bad. You can only have closed vents on the back. Radio engines, they tend to, these cowling flaps, they would either be open or closed. Some kits actually give you the option, but others like this one, no, you've got closed. There's the rudders, so not too bad. Fuselage. Right, let's see if I can do this. Fuselage interior. Cutting those out might not be too bad. But no detail whatsoever other than that. Okay. Let's have a look at the cockpit section, or try to. So, not too bad. Seats are just seats. Yeah, that's not too bad. And the instrument panel is a flat bit of plastic, so you will have to put the decal on the front of that. That's little bits there is so the front gunner, which would sit in there, can actually get from the main part of the plane through to the front. You have to crawl through a little narrow corridor just there. And the instrument column, it gives you a representation. There's not much else there, unfortunately. It's just, this gives you a representation of what should be there. Right, let's get on and do the next important part. And I can see them from here. Most people are probably going to agree just from this right now. You're going to have to zoom in on the side here. Sorry, guys. The camera is picking up all the detail. In fact, the camera is picking up more detail than I can actually see on the model itself. These are jelly babies. Plain and simple, these are jelly babies. There is no detail on there whatsoever. Not that great, unfortunately. But that's it for the sprues, as much as I can take these apart to have a look at. Interesting little kit. Let me box this back up and final thoughts. So, my final thoughts on the PBJ1-D. I could probably turn around to say this would be the same with any of Italeri's B25. That's Mitchell's. This is their own one. I know because when I looked it up, they do have another version, but that mold is not Italeri own. This one is. So, thoughts on this one. It's a nice kit. I keep saying this about most planes. It does look like it's not going to be a nice kit. You've got a nice representation of the cockpit. You've got a little bit showing the front. The bomb bay. You're not going to see anything on the inside anyway, so there is no other interior. There's definitely better B25s out there. The Airfix one looks absolutely brilliant. I do have that one in my stash. But this one, it's okay. You're going to need to take your time with it. Slowly build it, piece by piece. Unfortunately, Italeri's instructions, they put everything everything went into one section then. It's like you put the fuselage together and you need to do this bit, that. It's just like, how much? But it looks like it's going to be a nice kit. Just take your time with it and you'll get a nice model at the end of it. So yeah, it's one I will get around to eventually, definitely. And I do have another one which is identical, except it's not a PBJ, it's a B25, but still Italeri. So technically I've got 3 B25s in my stash. And thanks to what I said earlier regarding the additional decals, just so I had this version, I'm going to have a few more. Once I've got space on the shelf to put them on. Anyway, enough of a detour. If you like the video, please hit that like button. Comment below, have you made this kit or one of the other Italeri B25s? Is there any traps you need to look out for, or is this actually quite a nice straightforward kit to put together? And I will see you on the next video, if you subscribe. Thanks, bye.